Fallout was one of the hardest things I've had to go through in life. Literally, I'm not exaggerating.
I think most times we don't speak about the mourning of a friendship and how painful it is and how real it is.
We tend to love or support friends the best way we would love to be supported.
Put it, our friendship now, and what I love most about it is that we both respect each other's boundaries. This is a sensitive and an emotional topic for me, so we're going to let the tears roll down if the need arises. The first vlog that I did on this channel was about friendships, just the evolving of friendships and what friendships are about. And I spoke at length about my one-stop shop friend who I had to part ways with based on her growth, my growth, and I also shared just the reality of mourning a friendship. Today, I am sitting with my one-stop shop friend and we are going to spill the beans. So this chat is necessary in so many ways and it's important in so many ways. And I think not only just for you and I, but for, other or many other friendships out there that have parted ways or have, just been in shambles. But before we get into it, the viewers know you as my one-stop shop friend. But I will let you tell them who exactly you really are. You're my one-stop shop friend to me, but who is Denyeko? What is Denyeko about? And yeah, I'm so happy that you're here and that we are going to have this chat. But
Firstly, I'm so excited to be here. I couldn't wait. I was waiting for the invite forever.
If you were waiting for the invite forever, what were you going to talk about?
Exactly this.
Is it?
Exactly this.
Okay.
Because during our breakup, I was actually stalking your channel. I saw that you had started a YouTube channel and I was like, that's my goal. But I had to confirm with my sister because I can sometimes be a bit technologically challenged. So I asked my sister if I were to look and see what you're doing, would you be able to see, I was careful not to press any
likes or comment
so that you'd see, but I was stalking, And yeah, before we get into that, I am Denyeko Masikela. If you had asked me who I was a couple of months back, I probably would have given the usual intro. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, and. But then I listened to a podcast. This lady was saying a lot of people don't mention who they are, but they mention what they have, this and that and that, so you don't get to know the person.
Yeah.
So I'm a passionate person. I'm passionate about people. My husband has labeled me the people's advocate. He calls me Talimbofu because I am passionate about people. I like seeing different perspectives. I try and understand people. I'm invested in people. So yeah, I'm Denyeko. I'm a mom to two handsome boys.
Yes, very handsome.
Mm-hmm. I'm a sister, a wife, and a daughter.
And a daughter.
And a friend. And a friend.
And a friend. Sure. I am happy to have you here. Thank you for accepting the invitation. I'm happy to have you here. I think this conversation, we have had our closure. We had our closure obviously out of the cameras and stuff. But I think this is important for us to sit down, especially anyone who knows me for longer or from childhood knows you.
100%.
And vice versa. So I guess this is the perfect timing for us to have this chat and to be able to also heal other friendships out there. I wanted to ask you, Ne, because with me, I've realized that sometimes you can be a friend and you can think that you are an amazing friend, but uthola gore the next person is complaining or rather is not feeling supported or feeling seen or feeling loved by you as a friend, right? Based on their friendship love tank, if I may put it like that. You know, we know of love languages in relationships and in children and parents type of relationships, but I think there's also love languages in friendships. But before I get ahead of myself, what is the best representation of a good friend to you? How would you, if you'd say this person is a good friend, what type of traits would they have, or would they have?
Yeah, I'm actually glad you touched on the love languages, you know, because most times things, relationships, not just friendships, relationships go sour because we tend to love or support friends the best way we would love to be supported.
Put it, yeah.
And it's not the next person's love language.
Yeah.
So a good friend to me would be a safe net, someone who I am 100% comfortable with. They're able to reprimand me, tell me when I'm wrong, but with love, you know. They won't let me get away with murder, but I am also confident enough to go back to them, who will support me, support my dreams.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what
a good friend looks like to you. And would you say that you are that to your friends? Exactly what you've described. Are you like, and I'm also that to my friends?
Yeah, for most parts I am. I think a lot of people can fault me with so many things, but when it comes to support, I am there. I am the most supportive friend I know.
Yeah.
You know, and I think all my friends or all the people in my life would attest to that.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm supportive. I am currently learning to be intentional because I feel like that's where I'm lurking as a friend. I appreciate an intentional friend, but I feel like I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. But yeah, for most parts, the friend that I described is the friend that I am. Wouldn't you say, Mgan?
You are.
Okay.
You are. I think you've mentioned support. You've mentioned, you know, someone who's able to hold you accountable, and you've been that. You know, you've been that, and I agree as one person who is in your life to say, you have always been supportive. You have always been supportive. You've been supportive in a way that even in our break, you know, one thing that I missed was someone who read my blogs. Like it was you. You know, you always ensured that you read my blogs and you comment and you then call me. You say, yo, that was the best. I'm like, yo.
I still secretly read. I just didn't comment.
You just did not comment. Yeah. So you are definitely supportive, and that's really appreciated. Do you think that background or someone's upbringing plays a huge role in how they navigate through relationships and friendships? So it can be love relationships, you know, between two people, or it can also be like friendships. But do you think like our upbringing plays a role? Because I look at how I grew up, and I mean, I'm very strong-willed. I'm very vocal about what I like and what I don't. But I'm not too sure if that was directly taught or indirectly taught from home, you know. I don't know if I'd say that, no, you know, I'm like this, or this is how I behave in friendships or relationships based on what is it that I was taught at home. But I think I can attest to the fact that how you are loved and how you are supported then plays a huge role in how you then are able to give of yourself in relationships. What are your thoughts?
How much time do we have? Okay,
we have all the time.
Okay, so I'll just play back. 2015, I got married. It was supposed to be the happiest time of my life, but my wedding day, there was just so much that went on. And post my wedding day, I found myself introspecting because I had lost friendships, and there was just a big mess. Now, back when I was doing my first year, I spoke to a lady Claire. Her name was Claire in tertiary. So we had a therapy session and we're talking about something completely different. And Claire explained to me that, based on the topic we're talking about, explained to me that every single person reacts now based on what happened to them years back,
Yeah.
So before concluding, maybe just try and dig deep, to try find an
What might
answer,
happen.
what might
Yeah,
have happened
yeah.
to them, So when I was sitting there thinking this should be the happiest time of my life, I should be in honeymoon phase, and I was dealing with broken friendships and whatever. So as I was introspecting, I literally I did not go to a therapist, but I just used her techniques.
Yeah.
Her techniques. I literally went back to as far back as I could remember with friendships. And it was when I was around 6. I grew up in Diepkloof I was raised by my grandmother because my mom and dad both lived in a different province. And my first friend was my cousin. So because I was bumped by a car, we were not allowed to play. We were not allowed to leave the gate and go play outside. So all our friends would come to our house.
Okay.
And I was the youngest. It was the 4 main friends. Others would come, but it was the 4 main friends. Friend A was about 3 years older.
Okay.
Friend B, which happens to my cousin, was 2 years older. And then there was friend C, a year older. And then I was the youngest, So being the youngest, I obviously couldn't run as fast. No one wanted me in their team. If we had to pick sides,
You're always the one left.
Yeah.
And all savior.
The old saver, to a point that even if it was the 6 of us and it was an obvious choice, 3-3, they'd say, no, but we had her last week. Guys, no, So they'd rather have 2 old savers than have me in their team. So every opportunity I got, I would then prove myself. I would run so fast, to ensure that even the next time I get selected.
Yeah.
So what then happened was we obviously copied the adults. They had what we call kolokshini stokvel.
Yeah.
Where people would gather, bring money, have food, and be merry. So we would see our uncles do that. And then the 4 of us decided we are going to have stokvel. When we would have our stokvel, the ones that were allowed to go to the streets would go by and eat some more biscuits, so small, break it into 4, and then sweets, break them, and then we'd have our own society, right? And the one time my society coincided with when my parents came. It was in month end. They came. It was my society, so my mom came with goodies, obviously. But instead of just giving me, she gave me and she gave me and gave me some to give my friends.
Okay.
So it was snacks, straws, those multicolored sugar straws. Was nice, nearly packed. So instead of sharing one packet, splitting it into 4, everyone had their own packet. We had straws, we had juice. It was nice. So can you imagine how cool it was that I was bringing out those things, And then I gave everyone. And for the first time, I wasn't aware of it then, but for the first time, I got to be a teacher. Because every other day would play school. I never got to be a teacher.
Yeah.
I was always a student, obviously because I'm younger. And the one friend went to multiracial schools. So she knew.
She was always the teacher.
Yeah, she was the Beyonce.
Yeah.
When we would play home, house, and would have those handbags. I never got to hold a handbag because I was always a student. So the way they were so happy to receive the snacks from me, I saw an opportunity. I was like, oh, okay. All of a sudden, they like me. I'm like, guys, how's about we play school and I'll be the teacher? They grudgingly agreed.
Yes, because you had all the goods.
I mean, what can they say? So they're like, no, school is boring. Let's play something else, guys. So I'm like, okay, let's play home. And I want to be a mom.
Yes.
And then we played, but it was so short. They'd be like, okay, no, let's not play. Let's just chill today. But then every time my mother would come and every time I had something to give, then I noticed and I realized that, I was getting a bit more attention. I was being seen,
Yeah.
So that's how I feel like that background
Yeah.
has affected how I viewed relationships going forward.
Yeah.
And then my other friend, our birthdays were a day apart. She lived in those houses. We used to call them the new houses. So the kids from those sides, the kids who had allowances, we
Cheese
didn't
girls.
have that. Cheese girls. She wrote me a letter and gave me 5 friends. It was a lot of money. I couldn't even comprehend how someone would gift me, so much money. Her birthday was the very following day.
Yes.
Did I not go to my grandmother's sideboard? Those ones that you have in your sitting rooms. And I checked the coast. I stole a cup. And because I couldn't believe that someone genuinely, so outside of the 4, she was another friend and she cared, she loved me.
Genuinely
so. But I couldn't believe, I couldn't comprehend that someone actually sees me as a friend. I felt like
without you having to give out things, without you having to prove yourself.
So I went to the length of, getting that cup, that mug, so I can impress her the following day. So the break, what caused a lot of fights was because I then overpromised. When I had my wedding, I couldn't believe that people would leave Joburg and go all the way to Mpumalanga just for me. I couldn't comprehend. In fact, just a few months before, I attended a wedding in Durban. It was no biggie. I was willing to spend whatever. And I'm sure all the other guests from Joburg to the same wedding in Durban did not mind. Mpumalanga is not as far.
Yes.
And it's actually quite reasonable and cheap. But I still did not feel that I was deserving for people to celebrate me, to love me. I felt
you had to do something.
Yeah.
You always had to do
something.
something.
If it were up to me, I would even buy them outfits for the wedding.
Sure.
I couldn't.
Just so that they can.
Yeah. People were saying we are coming, but I felt like
for
me, no ways.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how it's affected my relationships.
Yeah.
And not to be confused with, I know, in fact, the other day, I was telling my husband that I don't want this mistaken for, every nice gesture. Someone now thinks you, ufuna.
Yeah.
I know I'm a giver.
Yeah.
By nature. I know because I can literally go to a different country. I can go to Kenya today, see a beggar, I would give them something without expecting. Yes, there's a thin line, and I don't go out of my way. It's not conscious. I literally pinpointed that, and I was able to see that after that whole drama.
Yeah.
My wedding.
That's really profound. And I think it then speaks to the fact that how we are raised, or maybe certain moments in our lives when we are young, sometimes they really do play a huge role and affect how we see relationships or we carry on in relationships. And having shared that, do you think with age, our relationships just get narrower and you probably had 10 friends when you were in high school. And then before you know it, you are in your 30s, going into 40s, and you're like, who is my friend? Who is my friend? I always ask, there's a question that someone always asks that, if you were to get remarried, if you were to do a renewal vows, will the same guests that came to your wedding be the very same guests that you invite today at your renewal? And for me, it's always no. And sometimes it's no, not in a bad way. I think some people we've evolved. Some people were able to move on with their lives, but also some people I never heard from them after the wedding. Like I've never seen them. I've never heard from them. And, we sometimes just hold too much to heart that we're expecting that if I've attended your wedding, every month I'll be going, happy anniversary.
Hey.
And people move on with their lives as though nothing happened, you know. So there's people who I never heard from them, like after the wedding, who were at my wedding, who were my guests. Do you think with age, yeah, relationships just get, and friendships just get more smaller? And what would you say is the cause?
So I listened to, I think I saw a reel by Tammy Kadiming.
Yes.
Yeah,
I love
recently.
Tammy.
I love her. I love her. So she was visiting a friend, and then she had a thought. And she was basically saying relationships, friendships, are all ships. And a ship is effective when it's moving, right? And if it's not moving, then it must be parked or stop, whatever, parked at a dock.
Yeah.
But then you can't just leave it there, or
Yeah.
else it's just going to float and go out
Yes.
wherever, So in order for the ship to be there,
It serves that anchor.
an anchor, right? So she was basically saying, and I agree with her, that in friendships we move, we sail, so we get married, we have kids, we wear different hats, we evolve. That is true. And I've seen friendships of people from different religions, different cultures, people who live, oceans apart, but the friendship is there because the anchor, or rather the foundation of the friendship, is solid, So I don't believe that friendships end because people have evolved. I mean, look at a marriage relationship. You find people who are married for 4 decades. They have had to be intentional about working on the marriage. Because
even as the marriage grows.
Yeah, and even as they grow and evolve as people. So my husband knows the Tenyuko before marriage, knows Tenyuko the wife. This is something we discussed recently. Knows Tenyuko the mom, and he's seeing me evolve, but it doesn't mean now our relationship won't stand. He is evolving, he is loving me in different phases, right? So even with friendships, I believe if the anchor is there, if the foundation is solid, then it's, I don't know, even
it will
without
survive.
evolving, it will survive.
It will survive. Even
maybe won't be talking as frequently because we have lives really, and we do get busy. But true friendships that have solid foundations will stand the test of time.
Our friendship.
Our friendship.
Our friendship.
Obvious.
And have you ever been burned in a relationship, in a friendship, rather? Not relationship, because really we've had boyfriends and ex-boyfriends, that we don't even want to talk about. We don't even want to give the spotlight to. But have you have you ever been burned in a friendship, or was our fallout the first one?
I actually have been banned after our fallout. But
also, our fallout was the first one?
Was the first.
Hi.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you know how those people who cheat and the excuse is, this girl has cheated on me. She broke my heart. I gave her my all. She broke my heart. So I'm not going to love the same again. So fallout was one of the hardest things I've had to go through in life. Literally, I'm not exaggerating. So when the other fallout happened, I'm like, oh. I got over it so fast. But also I was able to, because after our break, then I had to also find myself and see how I relate to other people. I had to be conscious of my actions, the things I say, and. So with this one, I definitely know she was not in the relationship for the right reasons, in the friendship for the right reasons. She was there to take, and she took, and yeah.
After she finished choking,
she was gone. But I wasn't even heartbroken. I got burned. I always feel like I'm the wisest. I always feel like I'm a good judge of character. And I tell my husband, and when something happens, I'm like,
I told you.
So, but this time around, he saw it coming. He saw this friendship is like, this is not
going to work.
And when it didn't work, said, I told you so.
Yeah.
But I was mentally prepared. I was okay.
Yeah.
I was okay.
Yeah. So I guess so what I'm hearing is our fallout made you have a backbone to handle other fallouts. It's like, no, these
manza
things happen,
mancane.
please.
Yep.
Please. I think our fallout wasn't the first one, but it was hard because we were close. You know, you were my best friend. You were my one-stop shop, right? So that's why it was so hard. But I've had fallouts in friendships, and I've had fallouts in like with family members. And I think I want to say it can work in my favor, but sometimes it works against. It's my toxic trait, which I feel it is cutting people off.
Hey, iskero le ntombazana.
No, like I cut people off. Like, you know, if I feel like this person is just wasting my time, I cut you off and literally I move on. Sometimes I'll even tell you that, I'm cutting you off. It is sometimes, but that's what I'm saying, that it works for me sometimes, because sometimes it's important to know where you are needed and where you are loved and where you feel safe. And there've been certain energies where I'm like, you see here, I have to work extra hard to prove myself as like to belong in this whole circle. So I'm happy to leave this, and that's what I'm saying. That's good, because I'm able to judge by that this thing works. So Miguel, move. And then there's the hardest ones where I'm like, I'm maybe exaggerating here, where I'm like, this is what you did, and for that you are out. You are out because firstly you are seeing nothing wrong with what you did, and you are out because, and it's like, just by one mistake, and like that I've been cut off your life. So yeah, it's a trait that can work for me, and sometimes it works against me. But what was the most, I think you've mentioned already, Uguti, our breakup was hard. It was the hardest time for you. But what was the most hurtful thing about our breakup?
The most hurtful thing, you mentioned, the most hurtful thing was I felt like you didn't get me, and the breakup didn't have to happen. I felt I was not understood.
Yeah.
I felt you were supposed to be the friend that I described, But in hindsight, I did not do the friendship justice, because there were parts of me that I was not letting you in on. You've never rejected me. You've never said you don't want to know this or that or that. But I was dealing with whatever. I was going through stuff. But for some reason, I expected you to be, a seer. Those people who see with a crystal ball and just know that this is who she needs me to be right now.
Yeah.
Also, I'm glad I'm glad you are saying you realize your toxic trait, because scare me, and also how does someone approach or talk to someone who can
easily just do that. Yeah.
So I felt wronged. Yeah, that was one of the
Fair
most
enough. Yeah.
things.
Yeah. The hurtful thing for me about our breakup is, and I think we spoke also at length when we had a sit down, was this is how I felt. I felt like you didn't fight for our friendship, so I came and this is what I said. And I felt like it's like someone saying, okay. And they literally moved on with their lives, And obviously when we sat down, you explained why you reacted that way. And that's because you knew me to be that person who, once I've made a decision, I have made a decision. I'm not going to be going back and forth, which means I've decided you are out, goodbye. So you're like, let me not even, I've been rejected and I'm not going to push myself to be rejected even more. However, on my side, I felt like, we've been friends for so many years. And it's not like for we've never fought. We have. I think this was the biggest fallout. But I felt like, and after so many years, I break up with someone and I decide I'm going to cut contacts, and this person is not even fighting for this. And it also took me back, because when I sat in therapy crying every session, I realized that for most of my childhood, which also I don't know how, right? Because I'm not even the first kid, like I'm not the firstborn, but I've always felt like I always had to have my own back. Like people can rely on me, people can, I can support people and people can rely on me and I can do this for people and I can do that for people. But I've always felt like, like no one has my back. Like I can't go to sleep knowing that, someone has my back. And that thing also came up in my marriage, so it was a trigger. Because I'm like, okay, now this guy also doesn't have my back. That best friend that I broke up with, Lena, did not have my back and did not necessarily fight, to keep this thing, to say that, no, Miguel, yeah, really, I want you. So that was the hardest for me. I think that was the most hurtful thing. And I'm glad when we spoke, you got to hear my side. And I also got to hear your side. And, I think most times we don't speak about the mourning of a friendship and how painful it is and how real it is. Right? It is so real. Like you are literally mourning losing a loved one, and having to, it's like you're going through life. And I think that's what I had enjoyed in the past about our friendship. You were really a one-stop shop friend. We can go to a party. We can also wake up and go to church. We can do a fast together. We can pray together. And, so you were able to connect and meet all of we can dream together. We can go to events together. So we got each other in that way where I felt with you. After that, I realized that I had friends who I love, but this one represented this. This one, it's for this, and this one, it's for that. And so fast forward, I mean, I think our breakup lasted 5 years. 5 years. 5 years is a long time. So 5 years of no communication, and because I had moved to Durban, there was no way also we would bump into each other. How was your 5 years? Like, how was life, without, I guess, how was life without knowing that this person who you dreamed a lot with, that our husbands are going to do that, our kids are going to be best friends, we're going to do this together, we're going to do that together. And then all of a sudden, it's 5 years and that person, how was your 5 years?
It was so hard. It was the hardest. What made it so much better is the fact that you had moved to a different province.
Yeah.
So not having to bump into you eased the pain, but it was so painful in that every time I would drive past your house, because, we lived in the same street, every time I would drive past your house, every time I would see a family member, it reopened the scab, I mean, I remember at some point, because I'm not so big on social media, I had about 100 friends on Facebook and 62 mutual friends. We had 62. Yeah.
Out of the 100.
Out of the 100, we had 62 mutual friends, So literally people who know you know me.
Yeah.
And they would bump into me and be like, oh, what's Damo? I'm like, oh no, she moved to Durban, she got married. And I'd be like, phew, at least, as compared to if maybe you were still in Joburg.
Yeah.
Oh, when last did you see her or whatever. So people still didn't know that we had broken up. And one other hard thing was we're not friends on socials anymore, but I was friends with Bongan. I hadn't seen his posts in a long time, but one day as I was just browsing through Facebook, I saw your pregnancy announcement.
Mm.
Phew, that was the hardest. Everything in me wanted to text and say, hey, look, we are not friends. But oh, congratulations. I literally bawled my eyes out from
Sure.
the joy. You know, that's when I knew I really love you.
Mm.
That's when I knew you are my girl.
Mm.
And yeah, so that was hard. That was hard, not being able to talk about your pregnancy, not being able to, you know, send a message and say congratulations. And at the time as well, I was pregnant, and you know, our mutual friend who's never believed. I mean, 5 years went by, 2 years, 3 years. She just never got it. She just never could comprehend
Yeah.
the fact that we are not friends.
Oh, yeah.
She did not even take it serious, you know. It's like, yeah, I really hope. When is your
Due date?
Yeah,
Oh,
when is
yes,
your
I
due
remember.
date?
I remember she called me.
Did
She
she
said,
also?
yeah, she said, when is your due date? Do you know your due date is the same day as
Yeah, it's like, I really hope.
Yatinyuk?
I really hope.
You guys, you might in fact give birth on the same day. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Thank you for the information. So that's how I knew that you are also expecting your second child.
You know, and we've always said when we grow older and we are grannies, then we'll get to use our second names. You know, you'll be Kuku Anna, Kuku Ino.
Yeah.
And just the thought of our kids meeting somewhere
I
more
know.
or going past each other,
Yeah.
and the history would have been erased just like that. They would not even know who this person is. You know, it's things like that. They broke me. In fact, I remember my husband was telling me about YouTube and how you can get everything. Hey, somebody doesn't take their car to service. They watch a YouTube video and service their own car. Hey, he was just going on and on and on and on. And, you know, it's like, YouTube has everything. And then I was taking a bath and I literally went on YouTube and I said, how do you get over a broken friendship?
Oh.
And this is year 3, year 4.
Yeah.
You know, so it was just there. And seeing our mutual friends post, you are around, you're in Diepkloof. I remember, I think, when your sister was having a 21st birthday party, a friend came through, it's like, oh, I'm so glad you're home. You know, I saw a tent and I thought you've already gone to the party. And I didn't have a response.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even know there was a party. I was not even invited, obviously. You know, it's things like that. Yeah, no, it was a really trying time. In fact, I remember your baby shower. Someone
posted.
No, I made sure to block everyone that weekend, all our mutual friends. I knew it was going to hurt me to the core. And then someone was like, oh, Zvaranjan, Saturday must be
fetch you.
Must be fetch you.
Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh,
hey,
how do I even?
Yeah. I can't even remember how I got out of that, but yeah. And then obviously a sneak peek, you know, curiosity. Curiosity got the better of me. I went, and as much as I muted, I went and viewed. I'm like, oh, she makes a cute preggy.
What can you do? What can you say? Yeah. But then within the 5 years, were you able to, you had mentioned earlier, to find yourself?
Oh, yes, I did.
Find yourself, be able to deal with, you know, I guess the weaknesses that you probably, or the lack of, you know, having good qualities in sustaining a friendship and relationship. And yeah, you know, I'd like to believe also that then also the breakup made you spend a lot of time with your husband, because we were inseparable even when we were so far from each other, because we intentionally communicated that that's how things were going to be. My 5 years was hard. It was hard, but I think the breakup, and because I initiated the breakup, it was weird because people's, like, and when I say people, it's because Bongani knew about it, and, you know, a few of my family members, because I initiated, it's somehow like, but then, which means you are over it. But people don't understand that I might have initiated it. However, you still have a 2%, 3%, 5% of hope that this person will fight for the friendship. So it was still tough, even though I had initiated the breakup. And I realized that because I was so far as well, it gave me a chance to also evaluate my friendships, especially my friendships back here at home. Because I also felt like I'm overextending myself and investing so much in relationships back here at home, and people are not doing the same. You know, the hardest was seeing people in Durban on social media that they were in Durban. You know, so it was hard for me to have to also just evaluate that, I think I'm overextending myself here. So let me actually be what this person is to me. And it also then gave me a chance to create new friendships in KZN. And I think also the other hard thing was having to choose. I literally had to choose to distance myself from mutual friendships that we had, because I felt like I did not want to put people in positions where they feel like they have to choose. You know, because I'm seeing them and they're asking about you, and you know, months later they are with you, and obviously they're also asking. So I'm like, you know what, in order not to put these people in like an awkward position, they are choosing between you or I, or you know, they're taking sides, I'm literally choosing to distance myself. But also, it's not like they kept in contact with me. I think I also realized that I was keeping in contact with them. So that was my 5 years, and obviously I became a mom. And you know how that goes. You know, it just opens your heart to being easy to forgive yourself, and I guess being easy to also forgive others. So that was my 5 years. But fast forward.
Okay.
Yeah?
Now, I just wanted to find out if, you know, it seems most of the breakups are because the other people are not intentional. Would you say maybe you are failing to see that people's love languages or friendship languages are different? Or do you think, okay.
Yeah, I think it's that. I think it's...
So is it fair, like if the pattern is the same, if the breakups are caused by people not being intentional, is it maybe that you are not accepting how other people best express themselves as friends? I don't know. I can't even phrase the question.
I think you're touching on the fact that love languages, you know. So I think that's one of the reasons of most friendship breakups, number one. But for now, I'm going to speak for me. I think it's that as well. It's the fact that they don't understand my friendship love language, but I also did not take the time. So it takes two people to tango. For any friendship that involves two or more people, someone is involved and someone has a role to play.
Okay.
And I play a role also in being unfair, in the fact that, you know, there isn't any conversation that's happening. There isn't any, okay, what's happening? I feel like I'm giving out a lot and I'm receiving less, you know. And then this person is also able to say, oh, no, I think it's because of this or that, or, oh, really? Is that how you feel? I actually did not notice that you're giving out a lot, you know, because to me, you are giving probably minimal of what everyone is giving.
Well, that's not even what I want in a friendship.
Oh, that's not even what I want in a friendship. So I think it's unfair for me to pull out, having had expressed that. But I also feel like, however, I don't want to say but, because I'm canceling the first point. However, I don't think I have the energy to be talking to everyone and going, hey, hi, so what's happening? And then they're like, this, and I'm like, okay, and then go to, I think the
It's draining.
it's draining, but the closest and the inner circle, it's people who I'm willing to have that conversation with. It's people I'm willing to have that conversation with. And I think, you know, over the years, one of the things that I've also learned is people don't owe you their news, you know, and that has been the hardest thing for me to process, because there's certain people who I thought we were, or people who I'd call friends and I'd find out their biggest life-changing moment on the socials. And I can't be upset with that, because over the years I've realized that you owe no one your news. You owe no one your news. I don't owe you to tell you that I'm pregnant or I'm trying out, I'm trying to have a baby. No one owes you that. And that has been the hardest.
Yeah, especially if you see yourself up there and someone doesn't value you
up there. Yeah, so that has been the hardest, but I've had to know my place. And knowing my place has helped me to
have less expectations.
Have less expectations and be able to move swiftly and be able to bump into them and go, "Hi, Bo, how are you?" You know? And if we have time, have drinks. But also, I'm not expecting you to send me a message the next day and tell me what has gone down the last 30 days in your life. No. I guess the other hardest pill to swallow is you can add value in my life, and it can probably not be vice versa. So you can add value in my life and I'm not adding value in your life, but there's someone else adding value in your life. So it's not like you are also running out from people adding value in your life. But I guess sometimes we look at friendships like, okay, I'm giving this, therefore I should be getting the very same things.
There's a quote, the famous quote, if you are the strongest friend in the group, then get a new group or something like that.
Really?
Yeah. If you are the wisest in the group, get a new group. Because you also need to be learning, right? If you are the strongest, then you need to. And I always listen to that quote and think, how? If the strongest leaves the group, then what about
they're
getting something from the strongest, how guys, but it's true.
It is.
In as much as you give, you must also receive, but also discernment,
Yeah.
If someone is intentionally withholding something that they can give, it's like, mqimbi, and whatever that happens at home, there's that aunt who can cook and clean, make sure everyone is eaten, but they can't financially contribute, So I feel like even with friendships, they might not be able to fill your cup or add value in certain aspects, but they are a supportive friend. So I feel like you need to use discernment. You don't just cut someone off because they are not adding value. But I guess
or the value that you also want.
I guess it depends what value is to each person.
Yeah, there's that saying that says, I think I've written about it also, and I've said it so many times to so many people, that says, I think there's 4 types of people that you meet in life. There's people who will take you forward. There's people who will keep you at the same place. There's people who will take you backwards. And there's people who, whether they are there or they're not, there's nothing that happens. They're not even taking you backwards.
Mimi.
They're not even taking you backwards. They're not even taking you forward. They are not doing anything. They're not adding. They are doing absolutely nothing. So it's important for us to check and introspect. Who are my people and where are my people taking me and how are they taking me? So fast forward, a mutual friend is getting married and we are both super involved because she's one of our closest friends, right? And we are both super involved in planning of the wedding. And obviously with her getting married, you knew that you were going to see me. And I knew also that I'm going to see you. What was going through your mind as the wedding was drawing closer? Like I'm actually going to see Demo after so many years.
Super involved was an understatement. Because this girl literally said, I'm having a small intimate wedding. It's my family and 2 friends. And I knew it was going to be you. And when I saw the table arrangements, I'm like,
At least you saw it. I didn't.
I was like, what is she playing at? This is the same friend we spoke about, the same friend who was
Yeah.
hoping we give birth the same day, you know. So for her, it was not even a game. She would not entertain the breakup,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And I remember we had to, I think you had to send me something, and then you said, no, I'm definitely not sending to that girl. You know, I'm gonna send it to you, and then you give it to her or whatever. And then our mutual friend, you know, she doesn't care. She's not even trying to divide or whatever. She says it like it is. So it's like, you're not getting it. She doesn't want to send it to you. I'm like, is this how she wants to play it? You know, but the Maswabis actually had said to me 2 months before, you know, they were praying and they had a vision, or we were going to reconcile our friendship, and I was like, whatever. So when the wedding date came out, then, you know, I revisited what the wife actually said. I'm like, hey, what
if this is it?
What if, you know? But also I was tired of being angry. I was tired
Yeah.
of I was like, whatever happens, happens. But obviously, you know, in my heart of hearts, I was hoping we have the conversation. I knew it was not going to be dramatic. I knew that we had both done the work. You know, you're not going to toparize me or whatever. I knew we were going to talk.
Yeah.
I just did not know the extent. And boy, did we talk.
Yeah.
You know, it felt like I last saw you the day before. So anyway, you walked in the bride's change room. There was excitement all around. In fact, I remember you having problems with transport or something from the airport and whatever. And I was like, Trent, you not get transport to get here. Because in as much as I knew we were going to see each other, I was feeling a bit like I had a knot in my stomach. I didn't know how it was going to go. I was a bit anxious. And you walked in and I remember saying, hello, Temo. I don't know if you intentionally ignored me, but I was like, this is not about you. She is still focusing on the bride. She is still talking to the bride.
Thank you. You are not the bride.
I'm
you
not
are
the
not
bride.
the bride.
Relax,
Thank you.
calm yourself down.
Thank you.
I'm like, I'm going to try one more time. And I said, hello, Temo. Maybe my voice was, I don't know, not audible enough. I don't know. But
I didn't. I didn't. I don't remember the most details. But I remember the excitement, and I remember saying hi to you, and you said hi back, and then I think we went through the wedding, the reception.
Because how strategic was that girl? You were an MC, I was what do you call a host? Because I had to liaise with the venue, and then I had to bring, if there's delays, I was forced to talk to you, and I was like, this girl.
Yeah.
But
I wasn't. So there wasn't. I think the only anxiety was like, after so many years, I'm gonna see, you know, Tenyeko. But I also knew that I think we've both grown. I think we've both grown. We've spent 5 years apart and with no contact at all. So really, but also I know that I was expecting to come to the wedding and we will be cordial around each other, and that was going to be it. Literally, that was going to be it. You're going to move on to your life and I was going to move on to my life, and life was going to just, happen. And I think it was just after the reception, obviously the mutual friend wanted to take pictures with us. I wanted to take pictures with my 2 friends. I wanted to take anyway. So we took pictures, and because she's the bride, people wanted to take pictures, and then you called me aside. You're like, hey, can we talk? And in my mind, I'm like, we just had a wedding. The last thing I need is having like a deep conversation. You know those reality shows when now people are having a whole deep conversation.
Hey, can we talk?
I'm like, but you kept it light. I think you were aware, and but you were also transparent and vulnerable, because you're like, Mudisa kept asking me, the day is coming closer.
Hey,
and
curiosity.
And you're gonna see them. How are you feeling? And you told me like you were downplaying it. And I remember you saying, I think you said, so can we, when you come back, because I was like, oh no, I'm leaving tomorrow, and you're like, ish, I thought so. And you're like, okay, when you come, can you let me know so that we meet up? And in my mind, I'm like, I haven't spoken to you in 5 years. Do you think I'll be sending you a message going, hi, I'm coming on this day. I'm coming on this day. And I was like, hey, I'm not too sure. And you're like, no, it's fine. If you give me permission, I'll keep checking up on you. That way, if I keep checking up, then I send you a message, then you are able to say, oh yeah, in fact, Kiatla, maybe next week, or Kiatla in 2 weeks' time. And you did that, and you pursued me. You literally checked up, not every day, but every now and again, hey, utamaile shapo. And then I remember we had the floods, and you checked up as well with, hey, are you fine? And I guess, gradually it was getting into that. But I want us to chat more on the rebuilding versus starting over, right? Because yes, we chat, and then finally I was coming to Joburg, and then I had the time. Then I was like, okay, let's meet up. This is where I'm working. I don't have transport. And you're like, I will fetch you from where you're working. We can go somewhere, we can sit down and we can have a chat, which we did. And I want us to chat about the rebuilding versus starting over, because I felt like you wanted us to take from where we left off. We are just going. We are just going. Whereas I felt like doing that, we are avoiding the elephant in the room. I'm a root person. So I want, instead of just focusing on the fruit, let's focus on the root. So let's go back and really focus on what happened, what role I played, what role you played, and for us to be responsible and accountable for that. And then start over, because I just felt like so much has happened in 5 years. We can't just, pick up from where we left off. We had gotten used to not chatting every 2 days in so many years. So what made it prominent to you that, you know what, okay, I think we are starting over here?
Firstly, I remember thinking, why not interview le organjan? I mean, we are flowing. We spoke like we never stopped speaking that evening.
Yeah.
In fact, my husband was like, yo, are we there again? Are we back there again? And it was so organic.
Yeah.
It was lovely. It was beautiful. It was just like the good old days. And in my mind, I'm like, guy, why but also knowing the person that you are, I guess unconsciously, because this is before you told me how you felt. But I picked it from stalking your channel.
Yeah.
Anyway, I knew you were intentional. And I kind of knew that I needed to step up and pursue, because like you are saying, you felt also that I did not do much to fight. And it's important to correct your mistake. Don't just say, don't just hear that this is what you did and not correct, And like I said, I really love you. And yeah, I've always seen you in my life right into our old age, drinking tea in our porch. Yeah, so in my mind, we had the 5 years to work on ourselves. So let's pick up where we left off and continue. But you were right. You were right in saying, the rebuilding and starting over are two different things. We can't just leave the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
My husband also mentioned the same thing you said, that, we've grown. In the 5 years, I don't know Temo, the mom.
Yay.
I couldn't believe that I was meeting you as a mom for the first time.
Yeah.
I had gone into business. You didn't know that side of me. I yeah, we had just grown, So the pursuing needed to happen. Bo shela, bo cheka, SMS nyana, 1212.
Are you good?
We literally needed to start afresh.
Yeah.
And it was important.
Yeah.
I see now that it was important because if we had picked up where we left off, yeah, the roots were rotten.
Yeah, the roots were
Things were
rotten.
going to come up again.
Yep, I agree.
So I'm not confrontational. I'd rather we just leave things, but it was important, and I'm glad.
We started over.
Yeah.
And what would you say is different about our friendship now?
Oh, it is such a breath of fresh air. It is such a breath of fresh air. There's no hostility, at least from my side, I don't, even when you text and I don't have the time to respond now, I'm not edgy. I'm not wondering if this is going to break our friendship off or whatever. Like, we understand where we both are in our lives.
Yeah.
We respect that. We are taking things slow. It's just amazing. I don't know. I think everything about it is amazing. It's almost like we are getting to know
each other
all over again.
Yeah.
It happened haphazardly, how we met and whatever else, but now we are intentional.
Yeah, we are.
It's like dating.
It is. What's different about our friendship now and what I love most about it is that we both respect each other's boundaries. I think in the past, I did not respect your boundaries, and I also used to question your no's. So even if I were to ask you something and you're like, no, I can't do it. Haibo, why can't you do it? Why can't you go to church? No, how you get, Whereas now, if you say, no, in fact, I can't make it, or I can't do this, or I can't do that, I fully understand and I give you leeway. That, you know what, she has her reasons. I don't have to question your decision. I don't have to make you also doubt your decision. I'm able to go, I respect it, and I'm like, okay, cool. When you're ready, you let me know, or when this is thing. So I love the fact that there's boundaries and the boundaries are respected. I love, even as you mentioned, you can send a message and you don't feel you have to respond now. I can call you, you don't feel you have to pick up right now. And I love that because you also do that. You do that for me and I do that for you. It's not, if it's urgent, then umuntu uzobhala urgent. But if it's not and it can wait, then let's allow someone to spend time with whatever that they are doing. So I love that, that there's respect for someone's time. There's respect for what someone decides to do or not do. There's just a mutual also intentionality. We are both invested and we are both doing the work and ensuring that this friendship, becomes even better than what it was. It's definitely different, but what's even better now is the fact that we are both intentionally, wanting the best for the other and not, it's just we only focusing on this one and the rest of us are in the background. But
there's no Beyonce.
No, there's no Beyonce.
In fact,
no, there's no Beyonce.
When you talk about boundaries as well, like I'm saying, I like our friendship now because it's everything is happening organically, nice and smooth. I don't have to think about certain actions, recent one was that invite. And I remember I didn't have to think hard on how to turn it down or whatever.
Yes.
But I could literally tell you the real reason.
Yeah.
I did not hide behind, hey, I have to go see Oprah Winfrey, wara wara. I was straight out. I was relieved. And you also took it for what it really was.
Yeah.
Because, no.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
So refreshing.
Do you think all friendships deserve a second chance? Or should people gauge what deserves a second chance.
You said something about, it takes two to tango. So just like with marriages, sorry, I'm just referencing to that quite a lot, but because those are also long standing relationship, like decades and decades, people choose to work on things, on issues and whatever. So even with relationships, how you would gauge, I think firstly, check the anchor, the foundation. I love you. You brought out the best and worst in me, but mostly the best, so you were someone I wanted in my life.
Yeah.
Forever. So I guess if the two of you are willing to work at it, or if you see that there's a chance, or then maybe rather check the anchor or the foundation. I don't know.
I agree. Like it takes, if only you want to work on something, it's never going to work. We both need to decide and intentionally want to work on this thing, so I think that's the best thing to gauge on that. Okay, do we both want to, and are we also able to recognize where we've wronged the next person, or rather where our weaknesses might be, and work on that, so I think every relationship deserves a first chance, a second chance, a third chance. Just ensure that it doesn't put you to the grave, or becomes that toxic or unhealthy that you're just now staying because I know I can't be. But two people need to be willing to work on it, and if the two people are willing to work on it, then it's even better. What would you say to all your demo friends now that I'm back in your life? I'm joking.
Bench warmer.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Oh my goodness, somebody's going to start a podcast now and I'm going to have to go through this again. I'm just joking. Thank you for your support. Thank you, friend A. Thank you, friend B. In the future.
No, not at all. But what has been your biggest lesson? What has been your biggest lesson for yourself in friendships? What have you learned about yourself in friendships?
What I have learned about myself is that I can be a good friend. I actually am a good friend. I'm not blowing my own horn. I also know, or what I've learned as well, is that since I'm not confrontational, it's a bit hard for me to correct you, so I would be a yes friend, just to keep the peace. But after our breakup, I've learned that I can actually say no. I can actually reprimand, and people knowing my character, knowing how meek I am, take it in the right tone. I can reprimand, but someone would know that it's done out of love. So I realized, I've learned that I am very reliable. People can rely on me as a friend, and I've got my very new friendship. The lady, we call each other bestie. We actually met sometime last year, and I told her that this is how I would like to have a friendship. I do not want to be reserved, And then she also went through a breakup. She also was looking for something similar. We didn't get into details, but we are so intentional.
Sure.
So we are able to call each other out as soon as you see that something's not, conding.
Yeah, that's good. That's really, really nice. That's really, really nice. What is the one thing you wish to do for yourself this year?
The one thing I wish to do for myself this year is a photo shoot.
Nice.
I remember years back, 5-6 years ago, I wanted a photo shoot. I had a picture, I had the poses, I had the dress, but Kabaze, the Jojo tank, was not allowing me.
Yeah.
So this year, how I did my goals was, there's a goal and there's a reward.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, if I work hard and achieve my body weight goals, then I'll reward myself with
That's
a
what
photo
Jojo
shoot.
Tank is, by the way.
Jojo Tank.
Not the brand.
Hey! I don't only like this pillow, but the Jojo Tank. So what I would like to do for myself is to have a photo shoot where I don't have to tuck in my tummy, where I don't have to hold a pillow or whatever. I need to work so hard and make sure I look healthy.
Yeah.
And I feel healthy, I feel good, and I look good.
And a skill that you'd love to learn?
I would love to pottery. Pottery, yeah.
Nice. So pottery as in doing it, not the painting.
No.
Because there's those ones where you can choose. Yeah. So pottery from scratch.
Yeah, from scratch.
We build.
It gets a comic in me.
Okay.
I actually saw that in an episode. The kids were watching Peppa Pig, and Peppa Pig and the friends and the parents went and
they
to a
did
pottery class. And whatever. And I thought, this should be interesting. Sewing is one of them, but the main one is pottery.
Okay, so we should find a school. One of those social. You can do pottery while you are there with your friends, mingling, socializing.
That would be nice, my supportive friend.
Yes. Yeah. And what's the favorite thing you'd like to do in your day?
My favorite thing, so no under 18s watch this program now.
Okay.
My favorite thing is dropping my kids off at school and coming back to a house, and it's just me, and I get to
breathe.
Get to breathe.
Think.
I love them. I love them.
No. Hey, I am with you 100%. 100%. 100%.
So that window, between dropping my kids off and fetching them,
is your favorite.
It's my favorite time
because you got to do you.
I get
to do you. That's really, really nice.
I pour into my cup, and that's why I'm so happy to see them after school. I'm so happy to go in for hugs and cuddles and kisses, because I've got something to pour into them. I'm not empty. My cup is full.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that, Mommy. Last question, and then we wrap this up. What would you like to be remembered for?
I would like so now I feel like I'm an advocate for authenticity, living your best life, having had to leave impressing people or making sure I don't step on people's toes. I heard of a podcast by an Australian nurse. She worked at an old age home. So the patients she'd see between 3 weeks to 12 weeks, 3 months, 12 months and whatever. And she decided to journal the conversations. And so she did a whole top five things that people regret and things that they would tell her, on their death beds. And one of them, a lot of people would say they regret not living their authentic
lives.
Yeah.
Sure.
So this whole time you are living, trying to impress
people,
trying to do this, trying to do that. And when you die, you realize you did not live.
For you.
So, yeah, I'd like to be remembered as someone who lived their authentic life. And even as you inspire, unfortunately, we've got role models, people we look up to. But on social media, you just see the tip of the iceberg,
1%, guys.
One.
You only see 1%. When are you seeing, oh, wow, you are seeing 1%.
So people see that tip and they label it success. I want to be her. I want this. I want that. But I feel like the role models we have, we should be able to see that whole picture. The iceberg, there's that big ice. So that is the good, the bad, the ugly, the failures, and before we can actually see the success. So I want to be remembered for my authenticity and having lived my best and true life.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I'll definitely hold you accountable for that. But you are definitely on the journey. You are definitely on the journey. So my one-stop shop friend, thank you for being here and allowing our viewers to hear your side of the story and hear our reconciliation. And the other day, Tinyuko sendela a message, Ari, happy reconciliation day. And I'm like, happy reconciliation day.
When is
December most. And she was like, it was on this day when we met and then we were talking. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Our friend's wedding anniversary is our reconciliation day.
I was like, yes, happy reconciliation day. So Ngani, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for giving us a second chance. Thank you for allowing our viewers to hear our story. And from, but there's always two sides to a story. They've heard the two sides, and they've heard the challenges, I guess, that we're dealing with apart and how also it's been like to reconcile back. And I wish you nothing but the best. I am in full support. Ngani, thank you so much for coming. I really, really appreciate you. I love you so, so much.
I love you, Ngani.
And I'm glad that our kids have introduced one. They know each other. Face to face. But it's so good to know that, we are also building that, catching up. Love you so much. Hope you enjoyed this episode. To stay updated with new episodes and blog posts, do subscribe to this YouTube channel or our webpage, unashamedlyher.co.za.